Hello and welcome to How to Master Singapore of F1 24, and we're going to be kicking off this video with the full lap description and then getting into the world record hot lap after to show you a live explanation in full speed of the details and analysis that I'm going to talk about right now. So jumping in to turn 1, you'll be arriving in 7th gear, DRS wide open, and the black box at the right hand side of your screen is going to be your braking reference, braking down and using as much of the inside curb as possible. And the trick here is actually to get your left tire just to the left hand side of the orange part of the curbing, and that means you'll get it just parallel and get it perfect during that first curbstone. Through the right hand kink of turn 2, using up as much of the road possible to open up turn 3, and you'll be braking down into 3rd gear. The trick here is to nibble the inside curbing, just get the sidewall of your inside tyre over that inside curbing, and that will help pull you and rotate you around the corner and using up as much road on the exit possible. Pulling the car hard to the left to minimize the distance running up to turn 4, and this is so difficult, so tricky. You'll be braking where this curbing starts underneath the car, and you'll be going down into 5th gear. What is technical about this corner is you have to be using as much curbing on the inside as possible. Although this is very difficult, as you can bottom out the car very easily, and this can mean that you understeer wide into the barrier. If you get this perfect, then you'll be able to glide over the inside curbing and gain a lot of time down the following straight. If you want to take it in a more safe but slow approach, only take 2 tires on the inside curbing, and that'll be about a 1/10 slower than committing over the inside curbstone. Of course, using up as much road on the exit as possible and opening up DRS. Minimizing the distance down to the end of the first sector is always a sweet little bonus on the lap time. You'll be braking just after the 100 meter board, around 70 meters before the left-hander is perfect and ideal. You'll be coming down and using up as much road on the right hand side as possible, and then braking down into 4th gear. You want to just nibble the inside curbstone, as if you drive over it too much, it will unsettle the car. As you see in my world record hot lap just after this explanation, that you're going to see that I have a snap of oversteer on the exit, and that's because this corner is so tight and the game allows you to run over this exit curbstone so much and so aggressively that you can get the right hand side of the car bottom out as you try to re-enter the track. But that is a compromise that you are really necessary to make to go as fast as possible. And now you're going to be braking at the black box on the left hand side of the track and going down into 3rd gear. Similar to turn 4, the fastest way around this corner is to commit to the inside curbing, and the safest way is to not take the inside curbing. If you do want to take the inside curbing and gain about 1/10 just by traveling less distance around the corner, then you want to just attack this inside curbstone and then bring your car to the outside of the track just quite naturally and gradually, and the more track that you can use on the exit, the better. But make sure that you're able to attack the throttle and get back over to the right hand side, and you'll be approaching with just basically a lift of the throttle and a glance of the brake pedal going into this left hander. There's not really a reference point, there's not really a turning point that you're referring to going into this apex. It is a lot down to feel, and you'll want to be committing 2 wheels to the inside curbing, and you do not actually want to go over the inside curbing with the left hand side tire, because as you re-enter the curbing, it will flick the left-hand side suspension up into the air and lose the contact patch of the tyre to the road. So for that reason, you want to only be taking 2 wheels on the inside curbstone, and this will help minimize the distance around the corner and help rotate you around the apex naturally as a result. Using up all the road on the exit and trying to get as close to this outside wall as possible. Early on the throttle, more momentum carried onto the straight, simple as that. Bring your car just as you're looking towards that hashtag Singapore barrier, as it's so difficult to actually be aiming towards this corner as the wall on the right hand side sticks out in the braking zone. See, right now I'm pointing towards the gap in the Singapore barrier, and you can see if I put it into the nose camera, actually it's probably the most easiest way to see it. As you can see right now in the distance, there's a hashtag Singapore barrier, and as long as you're pointing towards that with this trajectory, then it's going to be in a good way for you to be assured that you're not going to be hitting that outside barrier going into this left hander. Braking at the 50-meter board, and as you see now, the wall is becoming more and more prominent on the screen, and it is so easy just to clip that on the right hand side and make damage to your car before you throw yourself into one of the best sequences in Singapore's track. I absolutely love this sequence. It's one of my favorite in Formula 1 as well. So now that you've got as close to that barrier on the right hand side to open up the track, you want to be committing to this inside curbing as much as possible and cutting it as much as you can get away with. The reason you want to be cutting it is, one, shortens the distance of the corner, but two, you want to bring the car back as fast as possible to the left hand side of the track to set yourself up for the following right hander that is so tight and so technical going over the bridge. As you bring yourself back over the left hand side, you see the track is starting to fall away from you. It's starting to go downhill, and the elevation change is quite subtle, but it's enough to unsettle the car. So now you're going to be completely parallel with the wall on the left hand side and turn in with a lot of aggression to the right hand side and try to get your inside tyres over this red and white curbing so you can just hook yourself around the corner, and then watch out for the car bumping as you re-enter the track surface, and then floor the throttle using up as much road on the outside as possible, getting close to the barrier, then full throttle in 5th gear, commit to the inside curbing. It will make the car a little bit unsettled and uncomfortable, but opening up the corner's radius is far more important than being comfortable here, as that will allow you to go full throttle through the left-hander, then opening up the right-hander as much as possible. This is one of the best feelings for a corner in Formula 1 in my opinion. Getting as close to this inside wall as possible to open up the hairpin. The closer you can get to this inside wall, the straighter your braking will be, and the straighter your braking will be, the more you can set up the hairpin and gain time on the exit. So you can see right now, pointing the car as far to the right hand side as possible, going down into 3rd gear, and then you'll be looking just to clip the inside curbing here, quite simply, as the game will allow you to get away with it on this year's iteration of the Formula 1 game, that you can clip the inside curbing, gain a bit of rotation from there, and then straighten up the car sooner and get on the power harder, using up all the road right up to the barrier on the exit, as now you open up the DRS. Coming towards the end of the 2nd sector split now, and there's not really a braking reference for this corner, but you are going to be braking around 70 meters before the apex, and you want to be, again, similar to the corners before, the barrier is sticking out to you in the braking zone. So as you can see, I'm now pointing my car slightly at an angle, anticipating those barrier changes on the left hand side. So about 70 meters before the corner, braking hard down into 3rd gear, and now that I've traveled in a straight line, you can see that I've arrived at the outside barrier in quite a natural process. Versus if I try to open up the corner too much earlier and approach the corner in just a purely straight line, then I would more than likely tag the outside barrier as we're getting closer and closer to the corner. You can see I hit the outside barrier just subtly there. So it's much easier to approach from a slight angle and anticipate the barrier changes rather than approaching from a straight line, because you don't have that much time down this straight to set up this braking zone if you're traveling at this trajectory. So like I say, travel on angle, and this will allow you to open up the corner as much as possible. Again, just glancing the inside curbstone here, just tickling it on the inside tyre to let the car rotate round. And this is quite an easy corner to be caught off guard of on the exit, because the white line is where the track limits are defined on this track. But of course you can run all the way out here if you want to do so, but you will get a track invalidation by being all the way out there. Hug the inside wall and then bring the car to the middle of the track, as you can see here where the arrows are pointing the opposite direction to us where we're going, and try to travel along this route that I show you in the world record hot lap guide after this few more corners on this tutorial. The reason for that is the track is quite bumpy down this straight, and that can allow the car to just make a bit of friction and lose a bit of straight line speed potential as you're going down. So you'll see on my full hot lap speed guide video just after this, then quite simply I'm weaving actually a little bit down the straight to avoid the bumps and maximize my top speed. Now there's not really a defined reference going into this corner, and you're going to be braking about 70 meters before the apex, and that will find you about right. Again, the barrier on the outside is at an angle, so you have to anticipate that. If I go straight and parallel with the wall right now, you can see that the wall is coming inwards and inwards towards the track, so that means that you have to choose and point your car at a really not nice angle in the braking zone. So once again, it's better to approach and follow the white line rather than the wall on the outside here. So braking 70 meters, and then you'll be following the white line, as that will bring you just right about where the wall is on the outside, and then turning into the inside corner. You want to be using this first part of the curbing, as the curbing is so aggressive here and it's easy to unsettle the car, that you only really want to be using 2 wheels on these inside curbstones, and definitely avoiding that orange slotted curb on the inside on the left-hander. You can pick up a snap of oversteer here, but you just have to play with it, you have to understand it, and you have to work with it, and normally that will be the fastest way for the chicane, is quite often being a bit unsettled with a car. On the exit, use up as much road as possible, and through the final corner, it's easily flat on this year's game. Just use a bit of inside curbing and flat out open up DRS, and that is a full hot lap explanation here at Singapore. Going into the setup that we use for this video, for this lap as well, you can see we're still top of the leaderboard. We have 50-50 wings, 120-100, and then left, and 41-2, 10-21, 21-64, maximum brake pressure, 54% bias, and then this is on the tire pressures. If this was a racing situation, I would recommend putting the tire PSIs all the way to the maximum on every single tire. The reason is, every sports driver knows this, and pretty much every person doing competitive league racing knows this as well, that the tire pressures basically are always overpowered by having them at maximum PSI on this year's game. If you're doing a racing situation, I would recommend putting the brake bias to 56% just to help the stabilization of the rear axle of the car, and then also with the off-throttle differential putting to 30% off diff, just again make a bit more stability with the car so it's not sliding around so much in the low speed corners. And of course the wings are already maxed out, so you can't really change anything with them anyway. So hopefully you found this video helpful, informative, and can help you improve driving Singapore on F1 24. With that being said, I'm going to end the video right now. Feel free to use these setups, and I've been Brendon Leigh, and enjoy the world record hot lap just after this outro. Grazie ragazzi, ciao ciao, bye bye.